powers, particularly over the black and brown community, Barbara. And we know that just recently, within the last 2 weeks or so, we saw it happening in Pearl, Mississippi, where they had arrested this guy, a black guy, out of a family dispute and taken him to the jail cell. And the guy had to go to the bathroom. They wouldn't let him out. He urinated in his cell. The officer then made him turn around and lick up his urine before he would take him out of the cell. And, of course, the guy became very ill and everything else, and things that have flown from that. And there's a federal case that's been filed, and the officer now has pled guilty to the charges and stuff of what's happening in that matter. But this is something that we're just learning about. The thing is this. These are the ones that we're hearing about. What about all the ones we're not hearing about? That's what needs to be brought to the surface. That's where we see the pattern of practice as it's developed across this country. And it was that type of pattern and practice, Barbara, and Adarian and the other folks that are on this line, and Dee Dee, when we talk about Ahmuad Arbery and the fact that one of the killers, the father, was a former police officer,
yes,
this is the type of setting that was in the mind, the mindset that was going into this. This is why they felt as though they could take his life. And call him that he's trapped like a rat. That's the type of mindset that we're trying to break that still runs through many of the police officers that are throughout this country. And so, Adarian and Dee Dee, you hear all these stories. You've heard the background. You see what's happening in some of these police departments and how they're treating folks and what happened to Ahmuad Arbery. Do you see the connection as to the importance then of you being there tomorrow to stand with this family and try to break this cycle that exists in this country?
Well, I'll go first, and I'll be brief. This really goes to kind of what I'm being firm in practicing what I preach. I oftentimes say that we have so many activists, so many organizers that do a lot of talking but don't do enough walking for me. It's seen that the only time we get involved is when something traumatic like this happens, and it touches everybody, like the Ahmuad Arbery case, Tyree Nichols, just name those two, and so many others, but the only time they get involved is in something like this. And the only time they will be active in it is in the heat of it, when the heat dies down. But then here we have this appeal that's coming up. We need to have the same energy and the same manpower that we had when the heat was on. This is just as important as it was back then. And so my charge to organizers and activists, students, and just concerned citizens alike is don't just talk about it, be about it. Let's be consistent in our fight. Let's be consistent.
Amen. And Dee Dee, Destiny, what do you want to say, in response to all of this conversation?
I believe, turn her on, I believe her call dropped. She had just texted me that the call had dropped from where she was.
Okay, we understand that that's the problems with technology. I just want to note for everyone tomorrow, if you are able to be in Atlanta, join us at the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals. Be there by 9:45. We are anticipating, we're anticipating that the hearing in the oral arguments of the McMichaels and Brian and Roddy Bryan will conclude somewhere around that time, around 9:45. We're going to come out and we're going to do a rally. Mahuli is going to speak, and there will be several other, people who will speak, including the family, about how they feel about that hearing. We want you to be there. We want to show the nation that we don't forget, that we're persistent, that we will not stop. That is for tomorrow. But I also want to say, Daryl, to everyone, mark your calendars right now for June 5th. June 5th, there will be a hearing again, but this time in the state courts, not in the federal appellate courts, but this time in the state court. There is a hearing set for June 5th in Brunswick. We will be there. Come rain or shine, you can bet the TJC will be there, the Transformative Justice Coalition, we will be there. and we want to see you there also, because we will not have one moment in any court proceeding where that family's not protected by our love and protected by our, best. And I also, really want to urge everyone, to take this to heart, to do everything you can to be supportive of this fight for justice. Daryl, back to you, sir.
So, and I've got to ask Attorney Thompson, if people want to get in touch with you, they've heard your speaking, they've heard your topic, they're just inspired by what you've said, they're moved by what you said. More importantly, they have situations they want to talk to you about. How do they reach you, Attorney Thompson?
I give everyone my personal cell phone number. I just ask them to be respectful of it. If I don't get back to you on the same day, I usually have a 72-hour turnaround time. If it's longer than that, I'm probably in trial or preparing for some type of big motions hearing. But my personal telephone number is area code 323, area code 271-8032. Again, it's 323-271-8032. I can also be found on Instagram at Ryan Keith Thompson. Again, that is Ryan Keith Thompson. When you put that in to be that handsome fellow there with the beard, that's how you can identify me. And I'm also on Twitter at rthompson1911. Again, on Twitter at rthompson1911. And my email is rktsocialjustice@gmail.com. rktsocialjustice@gmail.com. You guys, if I could really quick, I want to say one last thing before I get out of here.
Yes.
We asked, what I haven't heard anyone ask is, and maybe you've asked me before, but I want to reiterate it. Where does this behavior come from? We have to know that our police department trains with the Israeli defense team.
What?
We have the police departments going to Israel and receiving training from the Israeli military team. And they get these tactics and they come back here to American soil and carry these things out in our community. If you think I'm lying, look it up. Just Google your police department or local police departments training in Israel, right? You have local district attorneys going to Guantanamo Bay and viewing what's going on there. And my understanding is that they're being trained on how to circumvent the Fourth Amendment, search, seizure, interrogation, Sixth Amendment rights. All of this stuff is happening. If you think that I'm lying by what I'm saying, I would invite your listeners to go and watch a discussion by a scholar. That scholar's name, I'm going to give it to you really quick here. That scholar's name is Omer Bartov. He's the Samuel Pisar Professor of the Holocaust and Genocidal Studies. He gave a talk on Palestine on Letters and Politics. And one of the things that he talked about was the way that their military units, their police departments, goes in, takes people off the street indiscriminately, and destroy their homes. That's exactly what's happening here in Baton Rouge. And if we don't understand what's going on globally here, we're not global citizens. We'll never be able to identify this stuff, to understand the etiology of it, the genesis of it, and where this stuff is coming from. And I'm telling you that it's not a national thing. It's a global network. As Billy Fuller said, global white supremacy is real.
And this is fascinating because I thought you were going to go back to the fact that police departments in our country did not exist until, after 1830, because they were all really plantation police up until that time. And the compartmentalization and the creation of police departments, the first one was in Boston, sometime in the 1800s. But before then, even after, quote, independence, all the policing that was done was really done through these slave patrols and slave plantation police. That's, also a genesis of all this racial hatred, all this racial control impulse. Even when a policeman who is black can become just like, the white ones with the same mentality of racial control. I mean, I thought you were going to go there and the deputation, of all whites, to be considered as, police, even if they weren't a part of the force, and then you overlay that with this modern training to view people as terrorists, to treat them as, the terrorists, really overlays it to make it even worse, it sounds. What do you say to that, Attorney Thompson? I mean, that's what I'm hearing.
Ma'am, I don't disagree with anything you said. Only thing I would say is that you are absolutely right. That is the foundation of all of the policing here of our communities here in America, particularly in the Deep South here in Louisiana. We understand that, and there's an excellent book that your clients can read. It's called The Second, that is written by Dr. Carol Anderson, that does a great layout of that. Yes. About that history and how the Second Amendment came to be in the policing of our communities. But again, you're absolutely correct. And to bring it more modern times, they are receiving this training from the Israeli Defense military people.
Thank you. And before we end, the same question to you, Attorney Davis. How do people get in touch with you? And then we're going to come straight to Adarian with the same question.
Absolutely. You can follow us, Davis Bozeman, Johnson Law. We look forward to connecting. I got to connect with this 1911 brother. I'm a 1911 brother. I just got to know whether it's November or January. But
it's January, brother. Cut that out.
Yo.
All right.
So we're there's so much information. I'm so grateful for so much I've learned. And we study this, and we teach it at Clark Atlanta University in the Dr. Mac Henry Jones Political Science Department. So part of what we have to do is we have to raise up a whole nother generation of legal warriors that can be out here on the battlefield, that can stand with our people, that can stand with organizers, activists, and they know that we are an extension of them, right? We are part of that, part of our liberation struggle as legal warriors. So we encourage people, you can call us at 404-244-2004, 404-244-2004, or just look up Davis Bozeman Johnson Law. We are working across the state of Georgia, so we're seeing things in South Georgia, all over the place that people just have no idea about. And I would add this, the importance of us being there tomorrow. A lot of people don't realize, but the officer who killed Anthony Hill, the naked veteran here in DeKalb County, his conviction was just overturned. It was overturned 2 weeks ago. His conviction was overturned, that police officer. So we don't understand about how these courts work in terms of who gets to appoint the judges and how important voting is to ensure that the judges who are appointed don't undo the work that we do in the street and in the courtroom. When we get victories, they are able to snatch those victories away from us through the legal system, through judges who've been appointed by either governors or presidents. So that's key. Critical. So thank y'all for what you all are doing, and we look forward to seeing you all tomorrow morning. We'll be out there in full force.
We'll be there. Daryl, take us home.
Yep. Thank you to all of our guests, Mawuli Davis, Ryan Thompson, Adarian Fambro, Destiny Jackson. Thank you all for tuning in and listening to us. Folks, it's time to get off the sidewalks and get into the streets. Let's get our vote on. It's election time, people. We see you next week, next Tuesday, same station, noon Eastern Standard Time. Peace, everybody.
See you, Atlanta.
The preceding program was paid for by Barbara Arnwine.
Radio 1 presents Boss Talk, connecting with CEOs in the DMV.
My name is Beth McNeil. I'm the founder and CEO of TaxBiz USA. We partner with Archbishop Carroll as starting a program that we are piloting where we need to educate the youth first so that they can actually understand how to balance a checkbook. What is credit? What is your credit score? And how to avoid the pitfall of going to college and actually being in debt before you even leave college. Because this is what happened when they're not educated, they go to college, the first thing they get is a credit card. And that's how they end up in debt. So now, before you could even start your life as an adult, you're now in the credit system as bad credit because you've gotten a Discover card or Amex card in college and you use it to buy books, to eat, not knowing that